R.BHUSHAN, a friend, motivator, and guide to IAS aspirant, international motivational speaker, leadership trainer, CEO, coach, political strategist, and policy advisor. Welcome to ASG IAS. ASG IAS believe in quality, commitment, and success. Before starting the program, I would like to request to please share, subscribe, and like. Ethics. Ethics by William K. FRANKENA. Ethics by William K. FRANKENA. So, sentiment of benevolence, moral institution of life. My rule is to smile first. My rule is to smile first. Part 6. Accordingly, it has been usual for moral philosophers to distinguish stages of morality, which can be more or less clearly traced within history of our culture and in the life of individual to distinguish, for instance, pre-rational, customary, or group morality, personal, rational, reflective morality. Improving on this in the interesting and instructive way, David Riesman, a social scientist, has recently portrayed 4 moral or social types in the lonely crowd. Number 1, tradition-directed individual and our society. 2, inner directed individual and our society. 3, other directed individual and our society. 4, autonomous individual and our society. The general idea here in much recent social psychology and moral philosophy is that morality starts as a set of culturally defined goals and of rules governing achievements of the goals, which are more or less external to the individual and imposed on him are inculcated as habits. These goals and rules may generally do, at least to some extent, become internalized or interiorized. That is, the individual takes them as his own, regulates his own conduct by them. He develops a conscience or superego. This process is internalization may be quite irrational, but as well as you see, it is typical of morality to accompany its inculcation with at least a medium of the reasoning giving. Thus, we and even by the BACHAO tend to give reasons with our moral instructions as soon as the child has attained an age at which he is capable of something like that discretion. And we even lead him to feel it is appropriate to ask reasons. That is why it seemed appropriate to Socrates at his juncture in this history of Greece to ask definitions or an argument in matters of morals. We may then, without leaving the moral fold, move from rather rational kind of inner direction to a more rational one, is which we believe achieve and examine life and kind of autonomy, becoming moral agents on our own, and even reach a point when we can criticize the rules and values of our society, as Socrates did in the Apology and the Crito. Some find too much anxiety in these transitions and try to escape from the freedom in one way or other, including other directions. Some apparent can make transition only with the help of the psychoanalysis, but for others it involves no major difficulties other than the use of some hard thoughts such as Socrates engaged in. Clearly, it is the last stage of this process that moral philosophies plays its natural role. We are often from now on may imagine ourselves to be middle or later stage of the moral life as they are just outlined. It is the thinking to be done here that we mainly wish to help on its way, although we also hope, in spite of the element of the danger involved, to pull those who are not so far along out of their unreflective nest, and it's a dogmatic slumber.